We we were hearing about Lord Shiva regarding on the occasion of Shivratri. From last couple of days, we have been speaking on the glories of Shiva. We were performing kirtan about his glories, and in the same context, let's today also discuss few more things about Shiva. In Bhagavatam, one of the verse it has been mentioned, Dev Asur Manushya Je Bhajanti Sur Asuram. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. As per this verse, demigods, demigods, demons, and humans, they all worship Shiva. And in return, what do they expect from Shiva? Much wealth, or any desire as per their mind. So those who worship Shiva, and Shiva is who? He is Fakkad Baba, means he has nothing to wear, he has no place to stay at. The one who has nothing, and but those who worship him, he makes them rich. Other side is Lakshmi Pati Hare. Those who worship Narayan, the husband of Lakshmi, they all become beggar. It's like reverse. Try to understand my point properly. Those who worship Shiva, Shivji has nothing on his own, not even clothes. He doesn't have his house for his own. He wears snakes around his neck. He carries a trident. He carries a half moon on his head. He rubs the dust, the ashes from dead bodies on his body. So he has nothing on for his own. But those who worship Shiva, they get everything. But on the other side, those who worship Narayan, which Narayan? That Narayan whose feet, lotus feet, are massaged by Lakshmi, the one who has all the wealth. Those who worship this Narayan, how do they become? Completely Fakkad Baba. From rich to rich, from richest person, a richest person also becomes like a beggar. He lives with, so why this reverse situation happens? Actually, by worshipping Shiva, one should become a rich person should become poor, and by worshipping Narayan, he has Lakshmi. Lakshmi serves him. He has already lots of wealth. So those who worship Narayan, why they become like beggars? Why is this opposite? Let's understand this here. In this verse, it's described from this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that those who worship Shiva, that worship is like it comes under the three modes of material nature: mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But those who worship Narayan, their bhakti is like, their worship is like beyond the three modes of material nature. It's called Nirgun Upasana, transcendental worship. This difference we need to understand. Those who worship Shiva like an independent god, what are they? Their worship is among the three modes of material nature. Narayan is Narayan is beyond the three modes of material nature. So by worshipping that Narayan, one goes beyond these three modes of material nature. Wealth, pratishtha, prestige, all goes away. Krishna, Narayan removes all of their attachments. But what does Shiva do? He increases attachments more. He increases more attachments. But this is for those who take Shiva like an independent god. In our Vaishnav Sampradaya, we do the follow the fast this day of Shivratri. So with which mood we follow this day? What do we think of him? Who is Shiva? It's this is very important. To understand this is very important. Like Sri Krishna, um, if someone thinks that Krishna is six art forms, will his worship change? The Krishna in Dwarka and the Krishna in Dwarka, they are not one. The Krishna in Vraj, they are not one. That's why even in their worship that there is difference. One is Ashwaryamai in Dwarka and another is Madhuryamai Upasana at in Braj. The Krishna of Braj, he's he can't be worshipped in the mood of opulence. Uh, and in Dwarka, nobody can serve Krishna in the mood of Madhur. Like Mirabai when she came to Braj. And in Braj, when she came, for many days she searched for Krishna, but she could not meet Krishna. Then she discussed with Rupa Goswami. She went to Jeev Goswami. Jeev Goswami introduced him to Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami asked her, Meera ji, what is your mood of worship? So whatever mood she had, she described to Rupa Goswami. As per those moods, in Braj, Meera ji couldn't become successful in attaining her Siddhi. Not in Braj. So that's why she was asked to go to Dwarka. Meera ji went to Dwarka. After some days, she entered into Dwarkadish. Means she got her Siddhi in Dwarka. So Upasana has a big role to play. With which mood you are worshipping, that matters a lot. It's a big thing. Taking Shivji like an independent god, those who do this, or if we take Shivji as Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu, under the guidance of Vaishnavas, that he is the topmost Vaishnav among all the Vaishnavas, those who worship him like this, that worship is better. That is Bhagavad Parak Upasana. Because this verse is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. He is a great Vaishnav among all the other Vaishnavas. You all must have heard lots of Harikatha about Shivratri. So let's discuss something different today. If you understand this shlok, then we can proceed further. So Shukdev Goswami is giving answer here. The worship of Narayan is Gunatit. It's beyond the three modes of material nature. And the worship of Shiva is under the modes of material nature. So the one who is so if you worship Shiva, then you will always be stuck in these modes of material nature. By worshipping Narayan, we can come out of the gunas, gunatit, Nirgun, Gunatit. That is why Shiv is Sadashiv, and the Shiva who is present at Kailash, he is an expansion of Sadashiv. It's not one, it's two. Sadashiv and Sadashiv. Maya cannot touch Sadashiv. He's Maya Atit. He's Guna Atit. Modes of material nature cannot touch Sadashiv. But where Shiva touches the Shakti energy, he touches Maya, then he becomes Kailash Nath Shiv, where he resides with his Shakti Durga. But see, he's touching Maya, but he is not fallen into Maya. These are two different things. He has touched Maya, he married Parvati Devi, but that does not mean that Shiva is also in lost in Maya. No, it's not like that. Shiva is not lost into illusion. It looks like that externally, outwardly, but it's not like that. It seems like as if sh- when Shiva got attracted towards Mohini avatar, Mohini incarnation, it looks as if Shiva is controlled by Mohini and Maya like controlled Shiva. Shiva was overtaken by Maya, but it's not true. It's not like that. Same Shiva, he burnt Kamdev, the demigod of lust. Kamdev decided that I will defeat everyone. I will defeat everyone. Brahma also ran behind his daughter. Kamdev thought it's my effect on Brahma. Naradji, being a sannyasi, he desired to marry Vish Mohini. Kamdev thought it's my effect on Narad. Although this all was not the effect of Kamdev, but it was the effect of Bhagwan. Through Bhagwan. It was done by Bhagwan and arranged by Bhagwan. But Kamdev thinks that no, I arranged all this. I manifested all this. So it's that same Kamdev now he wants to defeat Shiva. So Kamdev, he came in front of Shiva, and Shiva at that time was chanting. He was engaged in chanting, and Kamdev threw 5 arrows towards Shiva. Shiva did not get distracted. He did not get impressed. He Kamdev is disturbing me. He opened his third eye, Shiva, and he burnt Kamdev. And Kamdev, Ananga, Angaheen. So Kamdev lost his body. In We chant this mantra in the Gayatri, Tanno Aranga. This comes in our Gayatri mantras, Tanno Ananga. That Tanno Anang is who? Kamdev became bodiless. But in Gayatri, when we chant, that's Tanno Ananga, that is Krishna. That's not Kamdev. That's Aprakrit Kamdev. Transcendental Cupid. In ordinary language, it's Cupid, Kam. But here in this mantra, it's Divya Kamdev. Chinmay Kamdev. We chant Gayatri of that Chinmay Kamdev. Means Krishna. That Shiva burnt Kamdev by opening his third eye. So, how is he running behind Mohini? Is he running because of Kam? Lust? No. Lust cannot even touch Shiva. and Maya embraces Shiva. Bhagavatam, there is a pastime like this. Chitraketu Maharaj, he was flying in his plane with demigoddesses. Shiva made his wife Parvati sit on his lap while he was speaking Harikatha to all the sages, and Parvati ji is embracing Shiva. Durga ji, she was embracing Shiva. This is like so much clear Mahamaya. Maya embraced Shiva, and in this situation, Shiva is speaking Harikatha to sages. Who can speak Harikatha in such a situation where your wife is sitting on your in your lap, embracing you? From this, we can understand that Shiva, even while living with Maya, he cannot fall in Maya. This is the Siddhant here which we need to understand. Parvati ji is sitting in his lap, embracing her husband, Shiva. And Shivji, what is he doing? He is speaking Harikatha. Is this how we speak Harikatha? What is he showing us? That calm cannot touch me. Calm is not touching me. And while during that time, Chitraketu Maharaj from the sky, he saw Shiva and Parvati. Shiva and Chitraketu Maharaj, they are both god brothers. Means they are the they are the worshippers of Sankarshan Bhagwan. Chitraketu Maharaj also and Sri Shiv also. They worship Sankarshan Bhagwan. That's why both are god brothers. So Guru Bhai can joke with another god, Guru Bhai, god brother. So Chitraketu Maharaj told Shiva, what way is this to speak Harikatha? Is this how you're supposed to speak Harikatha? You're speaking Harikatha while your wife is sitting in your lap. Shiva started laughing. Shivji is laughing, but Parvati couldn't control herself. She cursed Chitraketu Maharaj, that so many sages are sitting here, they have no objection. Why you have objection? Are you blaming Shiva? Are you seeing faults in Shiva? So Parvati cursed him. Your in, intelligence is demon intelligence. You should become a demon. And Chitraketu Maharaj, when when he came again as a demon, his name became Vritasur. But Shivji chastised Parvati ji. He does speak a lot of things on different topics with Parvati ji. Who is seen here? Parvati or Shiva? Shiva. He lives with his wife, but whatever service Bhavan has given him, he's always engaged in that service. Um, he speaks about different instructions, Shiva, because the husband can also play the role of a spiritual master, guru. So at one place, Shiva is telling to Parvati, Chitraketu and me, we are God brothers. Why did you jump in between? Who asked you to speak in between? I was also joking with Chitraketu Maharaj that you are flying in your plane with different demigoddesses, and he also chastised me. It's called Kataksh. This was like a joke. It was not serious. Why did you speak in between, Parvati? It was between me and Chitraketu Maharaj. And Shiv also said one more thing. Those who are Narayan Para, those who are devotees of Narayan, they are called Narayan Para. They are never fearful. They never fear. Whether they get cursed or they get any boon, in both situations they are same. For them, heaven, hell, or liberation, they all are one, same thing for them. No difference for them. So that same Chitraketu Maharaj later on became Vritasur Maharaj. And she also told Parvati that Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hey Devi, listen to me carefully. Iti, ye, this Mahamantra of 16 words, this 16 words Mahamantra of Hare Krishna can destroy all the uh, problems of Kali Yuga. Hey Parvati, there is no other way more better than this. Shiva knows all the Vedas. Shiva gave the essence of all Vedas in this verse. So he also described, Shiva also, prove that in Kali Yuga, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only way. There is no other way. This is the topmost method of chanting in Kali Yuga. Is the essence of all Vedas. This is how Shiva is gives instructions to Parvati. And Shiv also gave one more instruction to Parvati. Shiv, how does Shiv address Parvati? By calling her Devi. He doesn't say, "Oh Parvati, come here, please." He won't call her like this. He would call her by saying Devi, very respectfully, by calling her a Devi. Shivji says, "Oh my, oh Devi, oh demigoddess." There are so many gurus who have their eye on their disciples' money, means they want their money, their wealth, and then they want to enjoy that money. Sudurlabh Sadguru Devi. But gurus like this are very rare. They only used one singular word here, which can remove their fever. I know, sorry, not fever. Uh, by the giving, who is Bhagwan? What is Ras Vichar? What is Tattva Vichar? What is Radha Tattva? What is Krishna Tattva? What is Raganuga Bhakti, Vedi Bhakti? All these tattvas, they remove the material desires by giving all this knowledge. So he also instructs Parvati ji, and at the other side, he is very simple, grounded, as if there is no one else so simple like him. He's so simple. He gets convinced very easily, Shiva. But even though he gives benedictions to demons, but he is so jnani, knowledgeable. No one can be a better jnani than him. And how do we know this? When there is an examination, test, from Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita Granth, Sri Sanatana Goswami describes one pastime. Then Naraji is looking for Bhagwan's favorite, topmost. Okay, who is the one who actually deserves the mercy of Bhagwan? So Naraji is looking for that particular devotee, Krishna's topmost disciple of Krishna who really deserves his mercy. So you all must have heard where all Naraji went. He went to Indra, Brahma. Brahmaji sent him to Shivji. Shivji further sent him to where? So here is the matter which we need to think. So Shivji did not think that who is close to God and who is not close to God. What he decided, what Mahadev decided, what he thought, that Ashray Vigrah Bhakt, they are topmost. Those who take. Shivji thought of one shloka from Bhagavatam because Shiva always speaks Bhagavad Katha eternally. He says, Aham Veti, Shuk Veti. I know the essence of Bhagavatam. Shukdev also knows. Vyas knows or not, I cannot say it confidently, with confidence. So the one who is so confident that I know the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, then he must be actually knowing it. So now Naraji, Shivji said to Naraji, I am not the real devotee. Because I fight with Krishna. I give benedictions to demons who are unfavorable to Krishna. How can I get at mercy of Krishna? This is his simplicity, his humbleness. They never present, Vaishnavas never claim that I have become a Vaishnav now. That I'm the topmost person who has attained Bhagwan's mercy. Shivji declined it. If I would have been a devotee of Krishna, acha, first, is he really a devotee of Krishna or not? Day and night he's chanting, and he's giving us the instruction that we must chant day and night. But when it comes to him, he says, if I was the real candidate to attain Krishna's mercy, then I wouldn't have fought with Krishna in Dwarka. Krishna, with his Sudarshan Chakra, destroyed entire Kashi city. Yesterday I was speaking this Harikatha. There was a demon. Shivji likes to dance a lot. Banasur played dholak. Shiv became so happy. Oh, you asked for a benediction. I want to give you. You impressed me, so ask for some boon. He said, okay, give me 1,000 hands. What would you do with your 1,000 hands? I will play 500 dholak. It's a drum, and you dance a lot. This will please you, Shiv. So Shiva gave him 1,000 hands. He doesn't think much before giving any benediction. Banasur, he was just creating havoc. All around, it was just no one could stand in front of him. How could they stand in front of him? He had 1,000 hands. The news went to Bhagwan. This is a long story. Shri Krishna fought with Banasur. And Bhagwan, with his Sudarshan Chakra, cut all the hands of Banasur. Then Shiva came, because a guru has Vatsalya towards their devotees. And then Shiva also started fighting with Bhagwan Krishna. Shiva knew the glories of Krishna. the importance of Krishna, but sometimes devotee likes to attain sashan from Bhagwan. Bhakt, devotee, likes to be chastised or beaten by devotee's Isht or master. Shivji wants this, that I will not be able to win. I will definitely lose. So it will be so nice. It will be so nice. Krishna will chastise me. Shivji starts fighting with Krishna, and his topmost weapon is Pashupati. Krishna also threw his weapons, Jamvai. So Shiva started yawning. And then Shiva lost. He lost, and Krishna burned Kashi city, the city of Shiva. He burned it. When Kashi was burned, then Shivji needed a place. So where he came? Navdeep Dham, Harihar Kshetra, where we see that Vishnu and Shiva, present in one Vigraha. Harihar means what? Half is Shiva and half is Vishnu. How is it possible? This means they are one roop. It's not about just one roop. Spiritual master can never be Krishna. But who is Guru? Very close to Krishna. Very close to Krishna. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shaste. Yuktesthatha Bhaktet Kintu Prabhurya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charnar Vindam. Kintu Prabhuya Priya Eva Tasya. Gurudev is very dear to Krishna. That's why he looks like Bhagwan, just like Bhagwan. But he is not Bhagwan. Guru is not Bhagwan. But he is very dear to Krishna. That same Harihar, in Navdeep it's Harihar. It means that Shiva is very dear to Krishna, because only you can speak everything to those people who are very close to your heart. You can't speak each and everything to outsiders. All the impossible tasks, difficult tasks that Krishna makes, that Shivji does them. The difficult task, like creating this creation, is not so easy. But Krishna gave this role of creation is to Brahmaji. Okay, you handle it. Okay, maintenance is very difficult. You build your house, you give birth to your children, but who will maintain them? That's most difficult task. That department Bhagwan kept with him, Krishna. But one job is such which is not considered so good. Destruction. That role was given to Shiva. Shivji said, okay, whatever you say so. You want to give me this service? Okay, I'm fine with it. It's fine till here. Then the pastime of Nilkant Mahadev comes. Who will drink the poison? Humans were refusing, demigods were refusing. So the message came from Krishna, super boss, that go to Shiva, he will drink the poison. So Shivji agreed. He drank the poison. It's difficult. Different and difficult task. Then Krishna said, okay, you do one more thing. You preach like this that Vedas are not real. Shivji says, what are you saying? How can Vedas be? The speech which comes from your mouth, it can never be fake. Whatever words come from your mouth, they become. I can't say this, you choose someone else. Krishna said, listen, leaving apart from you, nobody else can do this job. Apart from you, nobody else can do this job. Only you can do this job. Which job? Which role? Those people who are demoniac, you separate them from the rest. You preach them that I am energyless, I am nirgun, I have no form, I have no gunas, I have no energy, I have no shape. I am nirakar. You preach like this. Shivji said, Prabhu, oh my master, please don't make me do this. I drank poison. Okay, that's fine. But this I cannot do. So then Bhagwan gave instruction to Shiv and also prayed. Then Shiv accepted this role and came as an Acharya. Which Acharya? Sri Shankaracharya. Thousand years back. Who's Shankaracharya? Sakshat Bhagwan Shankar. That's Shankaracharya. And then he said, all are one. All are one. Advaitvad. Bhagwan and his master, there is no difference. He preached Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahm, I am Brahm. I am the same. Tattva Asmi. Pragyanam Brahm. Shankaracharya preached so well that because he gave Diksha to big people and he made them his followers because Krishna told him, Shankaracharya, it was not the desire of Shankaracharya. Bhagwan arranged it. But still, Shankaracharya never touched Srimad Bhagavatam. Other acharyas have given their commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam because it is essential to have the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Shankaracharya never touched Bhagavatam. He never wrote any commentary on that. Purport. And Bhagavatam is full of ras, nectar. Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedas. It is full of nectar. It has mention of the birth of Radharani. It has the mention of Ras Leela. It has Venu Geet. It has Pranay Geet, Brahmar Geet. The birth of Krishna's. And how can I say after hearing all this Harikatha that you are Nirgun, you have no roop, no form? How can I say this? So that's why Sri Shankaracharya he did not write any commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. He's so close to Bhagwan that all difficult task are always given to Shiva. Difficult task. That's why Shiva knows all the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. So when Naraji came to Shiva to know who is a good devotee, then Shivji sent Naraji to uh, Prahlad Maharaj. Shivji said that Shivji said that I don't really deserve the mercy of Bhagwan. It's Prahlad who deserves. He took the name of Prahlad Maharaj. He took the name of a devotee. Why? That Bhagwan who speaks from his mouth about Uddhav. One, one day, Krishna took the hand of Uddhav in his hand, and he said, "Listen to me carefully, Uddhav. Brahma, who took birth from my navel, my son Brahma is not so close to me. My Sakhas, Shiv is also not so close to me." Bhagavan took the name of Shiva in that verse. That's why today Shivji is speaking to Naraji. See Narad. So Shivji is saying to Naraji that you are saying that I am a very good devotee, but see, this is not true. I don't even love my brother Sankarshan so much. My wife Shri, even I don't love Lakshmi ji so much. And moreover, I don't love my soul so much. Oh Uddhav, so Krishna give importance to whom? There is no partiality. Okay, so Krishna did not give it to Sankarshan or Lakshmi or Uddhav. Oh, my soul is not so um level of my devotees are more dear to me. My devotees are more dear to me than anybody else. So then Shivji changed the route and he decided. So Shivji decided that in among devotees, Prahlad is so great. So Naradji then came to Prahlad Maharaj that Prahlad is the one who attained the mercy of Krishna. He is so great in different gunas. Shri Mahadev, Gunvan, Vaishnava Nam Jatha Shambhu. And Shiva is also Shiva is also so great in renunciation. He wants nothing. He will stay at Shamshan. Where no one stays, I will stay there. And he also rubs the ash from dead bodies. How to worship Shiva? Just with some bel patra. No demand. Just one bel patra. And he always inspires that worship our Isht, my Isht. Kam cannot touch Shiva. And they are where Sati ji accepted the roop of Sita ji to test Lord Ram. Shivji again he never accepted Sati Devi. So all the qualities of a devotee are present in a Shiva. He's so much He has no lust in him. Then it's about krodh, anger. Shivji has lots of anger. He has really? He's the master of anger, demigod. But Shiva is not angry. He can give benedictions to demons. So easily he gets happy. Where he show his anger? Yashoda Maiya is breastfeeding Kanaya, and Putna came and she had poison on her chest so that she could, by the excuse of feeding Krishna, I would kill Krishna. That so that time Krishna became angry and he started sucking. He started drinking the milk from Putna. So from there, it's not Krishna who got angry actually when he was killing Putna. It was Shiva who came. Wherever service is required, Shivji comes there to serve his Isht Krishna. So Krishna drank the milk, and then this is how it's described in Bhagavatam. Ram Leela is also, having all the qualities of Hanuman in the form of Hanuman. Bhim also. It's very difficult to understand the actions of Vaishnavas, and Shiva is the topmost Vaishnav. Just imagine, think about this. One side, he, Lord Ram, he manifested a Shivling and he's chanting Har Har Mahadev. And where is he going? He's going to Lanka to kill Ravan, who is a Shiv Bhakt. Ravan, who is a great devotee of Shiva. No one, they can't be. Ravan wrote Tandav Stotra to glorify Shiva. So Ramji manifested a Shivling before going to kill Ravan. So one side he's establishing a Shivling, other side the same Shiv in the form of Hanuman is serving Ram. So one side this Shiva as Hanuman is serving Ram, and other side he's giving benedictions to Ravan, and he's also Acharya of our Sampradaya, Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya. Madhvacharya is who? Bhim and Hanuman. Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. Who is our Adi Guru? Sri Madhvacharya ji. And Sri Madhvacharya ji is who? Hanuman and Bhim. Both together became Madhvacharya. And Hanuman and Bhim are Shiv. And they are establishing Vaishnav Vichar. That there are two personalities, not one. Sevak and Swami, master and servant. So it's not easy to understand Shiva. He has so many good qualities, and understanding his actions is very difficult. One side he's running behind Mohini, and the other side he's making Parvati sit in his lap while he's speaking Harikatha, and he has no effect on about this on him. But other side he's running behind Mohini. He's running behind Mohini Devi, and wherever his semen fell at those places, gold manifested in large quantities. And wherever the poison fell from the pot which he was drinking, at those pots, snakes and other poisonous creatures manifested. So Shivji always tells one thing. What does, sorry, Shankaracharya says, what is the essence of all the essence? Shankaracharya says, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Mood Mate, Punarapi Jananam, Purun Api Maranam, death and birth. All the people of this world are stuck in the cycle of death and birth. Other side, Shankaracharya is speaking more verses. As a child, we spend all of the time in playing games. And as a youth, we get stuck in attractions. And old age, we are always nervous, but we never do any bhajan of Bhagwan. That's why Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhajam Mood Mate. Oh foolish people, don't show you more foolishness. Do the bhajan of Govind. Do the bhajan of Govind, and only do the bhajan of Govind. Shivji is giving us this updesh. But those, okay, so those who worship Shiva, they say those who are foolish, they worship Krishna. But Shankaracharya said, Bhaj Govindam, Mood Mate. Oh, you foolish person. Shankaracharya is saying, oh, you should worship Govind, and Govind, only Govind. But in his sampradaya, some people say that those who are mad, only they can chant, do the bhajan of Govinda. Some people say this, but those who are scholar, intelligent, they will not say like this. Shivji has great glories. Shivratri is gone, and we also heard his Harikatha about him. The the argument between Shiva and Daksh Prajapati, that we will see at Haridwar. From 17th March, we will do Bhagavatam at Haridwar, and then we will take bath in Ganges water. Shiva carries Ganga on his head. That's the Charnamrit of Bhagwan. There we will speak Bhagavatam for 1 week, because otherwise we don't know when we will get another chance. One day we all have to go to Ganga. If we don't go, I mean, after our death, our relatives will throw our body in Ganges. So why not, when we are alive, when our body is good, why don't we go to Ganges for a bath? Even if you have to, make some excuse, please come. So during the day, we will take the darshan of Neelkant Mahadev there, and the place of Daksh Prajapati, where there was an argument between Shiva, where Satiji entered fire, Rishikesh, and Shukratal, where Shivji Shukdev Goswami spoke Katha to Parishit Maharaj. Shukratan. So we will go to all these places in the morning, and in the evening there will be Bhagavatam Katha. You all please come and attend for that Bhagavatam Katha. If you can come for 1 week, very great. If you can't come for 1 week, then at least try to come for at least last 3-4 days. Hare Krishna. Shri Kopeshwar Mahadev ki jai.